Let's talk about the Denver Broncos and potentially the playoffs, or the Indianapolis Colts and potentially the playoffs. The Colts versus Broncos is a default playoff game for the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday afternoon. If they lose to the Broncos, their chances at the AFC South crown is basically gone. They're all about wild card now if they lose this game. And with a loss, it would move them down to 6-8 on the season, more than likely giving them, and then more than likely giving all the wild card teams in the AFC 9 wins on the season. So they would by default be 3 games out of a wild card berth as the 7th seed, giving that the Chargers beat the Buccaneers. The Colts have been a decent team for most of the season, but by keeping games close, but they just cannot get those big key wins. So the question that I want to ask you guys is can the Colts upset the Broncos and keep their playoff hopes alive? Keep the AFC South Championship alive? As of right now, the Colts have a 26% chance to make the playoffs as of today. They have won 2 of 3 with the win over the Jets and the Patriots, both on the road. I understand it's the Jets, it's the Patriots, but they were on the road and they played well. They did play against the Detroit Lions. Despite losing 24-6, they played like a pretty decent team. They held the high-flying Detroit Lions to just 24 points. I understand dog days of summer, week 13, whatever, we just want to get in and like get out. But still, you can hang your hat by holding the Detroit Lions to only 24 points. Alex Pierce is battling back issues, but should be good to go this weekend versus the Denver Broncos. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts right now, they're not very good on offense. Let's just be flat honest. They are the 23rd ranked overall offense. They are 26th ranked in pass offense, but 14th ranked in rush offense. But they are one of the worst teams on third downs, ranked at 23rd, only getting 36% of their third downs so far this season. 9 other teams are around the 35% mark. So it's basically what I'm saying is like if they would have missed 1 fewer third down, they would be ranked 31st in the NFL. They're not very good on third downs. On the flip side, the Denver Broncos have the 8th ranked overall defense, 19th in pass defense, and 6th in rush defense. So if the Indianapolis Colts want to upset the Denver Broncos on Sunday, they have to get the rushing game going. Jonathan Taylor has to open up the passing game. Jonathan Taylor has to get 100 yards. Jonathan Taylor has to be that workhorse. Fight fire with fire. 14th ranked offense versus the 6th ranked rush defense. Fight fire with fire. But on the flip side of that, the Broncos are a hot team right now. The Denver Broncos have won 3 games in a row over the Browns, over the Raiders, and a dismantling of the Atlanta Falcons. And let's look back even further. They have won 5 of the 7. 5 of the last 7 have been wins. Their only losses have been to a blowout loss to the Baltimore Ravens, and they battled the Kansas City Chiefs. If they wouldn't have missed a field goal, they would have beat the defending Super Bowl champions and won 6-7. And we've been a totally different conversation about the Denver Broncos. So the question is, guys, can the Colts upset the Denver Broncos and keep their playoff hopes alive? I think the Colts are going to battle the Broncos. I think the Colts are going to go into Mile High Stadium at 4:25 on Sunday, and they're going to battle the Denver Broncos. However, the Denver Broncos offense is getting better and better and better. If you look at their stats, they are ranked near the bottom of every stat category for the overall season. Look at the last 3, the last 4. They are a top-tiered offense in the NFL. Bo Nix is balling out. Bo Nix should be the rookie of the year. Let's be just flat out honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it how we see it. Bo Nix should be the rookie of the year. Not Jaden Daniels, not Brock Bowers, Bo Nix. Guys, the Colts are not going to beat the Denver Broncos. The Colts are going to battle the Denver Broncos. The Colts are going to make it close, 23-20, 20-19 maybe. It is going to be a close game. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, if you would have done this different, and if Anthony Richardson would have tapped out on third down here, they may have won the game. The Colts are just a team that you cannot buy into. Every time I start to buy into the Colts a little bit, they lose 2-3 games in a row. Every time I start to sell them, they win 2 of 3. I don't know who the Colts are, but I do know that they're not going to beat the Denver Broncos. So, guys, can the Colts pull the upset and keep their playoff hopes alive? That is the question. Mark D says, I will be at that game, so the Broncos will win. Mark D says, not only will the Broncos win, they will make it interesting. They will let the other team score 38 points on us. If you guys don't know, Mark D was at the Monday night game when they played the Browns, and it's that little bit of shootout, right? Hunter Mills says the Colts off of a bye week could totally be an upset alert. And they are coming off a bye week, right? However, historically, the Colts are pretty bad off a bye week. I understand Shane Steichen is a new coach, second year head head coach, yada yada yada. He is 0-1 coming off of bye weeks, but history says the Colts are historically bad off of bye weeks. So it is what it is. Josh Olson says the Chargers are better than the Broncos and they're going to sweep them. Ooh, shots fired. And Laura says the Broncos will win with a pukey face. And John says, oh, hell no. To what? To what? Mark D says Richardson is awful. Denver's D will eat. And Mark, if you were talking about Anthony Richardson 6 weeks ago, I would agree with you. If you were talking about Anthony Richardson last season, I would agree with you. But the last 3 weeks, Anthony Richardson, since he's been benched, he's been a different quarterback. Benching for Anthony Richardson has been a good thing for him, much like Bryce Young. Bryce Young is looking like a decent quarterback, right? They're not winning games over there in Carolina, but they're battling the Chiefs. They're battling the Buccaneers. They're battling the Eagles, right? Think about if their ball would have bounced one way than the other for them. They would have had 3-game winning streak over the Chiefs, Buccaneers, and like Eagles. Anthony Richardson is playing a lot better. I'm not saying he's awful, but I'm not saying he's great either. He is a nice average quarterback that he will win you a game, but he will also lose you a game, right? The ceiling's really high, but the floor is really low with Anthony Richardson. He needs to bring up the floor, maybe lower the ceiling a little bit and give us a little bit more steady level play, and he could be a good quarterback. But right now, I don't think he's awful, but he's just not great right now. Josh Olsen says, but the Broncos will beat the Colts 31-20. Ooh, kind of a blowout there. What's that, a 3-score game? 2-score game? Ouchie. Hunter Mills says, you're right. Colts aren't on Denver's level. And the Broncos are decent. Defense is really good. 8th ranked defense, right? Offense is improving. The last 4 or 5 weeks, the offense has been great, per se. But slow it down with like the Broncos being on a different level than the Colts. They're both tier 3 teams, but the Broncos are playing a little bit better than a tier 3 than the Colts are. John says, get ready for the glue factory. Colts, you are done. Kevin says Denver is winning this game. No upset here. Laura says it will be a battle, I think. Broncos will come out on top, though. Colts are done. And Josh says, whoa, slow it down, baby. Jaden Daniels is winning Rookie of the Year. Okay. What happens when the Commanders miss the playoffs? Then what happens? That's the real question. Baby. Hunter Mills says Denver will crush the Chargers. I like the trash talk going on. I like it. Jonas Howard in the chat says, I'm taking the Colts. This is their playoff game win or the season is over. Exactly.